Hi, my name's Phil. I'm a psychotherapeutic counsellor, a supervisor, and a trauma therapist. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about racket emotions. Now, racket emotions are feelings that we feel instead of another, usually because our brain is thinking if we feel the appropriate emotion that is relevant to this situation, that something bad's going to happen or something negative is going to happen. So the brain, before you even realize, would usually have converted the appropriate emotion into something that is more manageable, that's going to help you survive. Also, the brain thinks in that moment. So, an example of this would be people who were brought up, say if you were brought up in a family where you had a parent that was very much ailing or very much in the victim position. And so whenever you had a need, you got sad or you got angry, the parent would say to you, "Oh, I haven't got time to look after you. I've got to do this. You don't know how bad it is for me." And eventually the child starts to feel guilt when they have an appropriate need, which is maybe they're feeling sad about something or they're feeling frustrated that their parent isn't sort of meeting their needs. So, but this narrative coming from the environment makes that child convert those absolutely healthy feelings in those situations to guilt. So that might then become a fixed process. So all the way through life, that person might, whenever they feel angry at someone or frustrated that someone's putting on them or somebody's acting inappropriately around them, instead of being angry and saying, no, I'm not going to have anything to do with this person, they'll feel guilty instead, which might mean that they'll become like a caretaker person. So they'll, yes, well, what the word says, they might go into actually a job in which they continue to caretake people because as long as they're meeting other people's needs and making sure other people don't feel bad, then they vicariously they're getting their own needs met by looking after someone else, which means in effect that they're giving to others what they need, and that's never going to soothe their system because they'll always need someone else to look after. But if they could actually get in touch with the anger and shame, sorry, they would probably be more likely to have put boundaries in within that person and realize what's a healthy level of caretaking. There could be some things that this person can do themselves. I don't need to do it for them, but if they racket those feelings with guilt, they will stay with the guilt. Now, other ways that racket emotions can work, it can be children often who if the environment was really scary, if they got angry, if they were met with a bigger force, a larger anger, an attack even maybe, that child might interpret anger as being relating to fear. So as that child gets older, whenever it feels frustrated by the environment, its brain might think that if I get angry here, I could be killed. Something really bad's going to happen. So the brain sticks with the fear. Instead of going with the anger, it sticks with the fear. So it can't get angry anymore. So often this person might go through life avoiding people because it'll be projecting all of the time that there's possible consequence, there's possible going to be a catastrophe going on here. This is a situation where I could be attacked. So it will be also trying to appease, but quite often people who lack it fear for anger will be quite avoidant of other people because of course they're always on the lookout because people are frustrating. People will make you angry. And of course, when that's happening, the child then starts to feel this within us starts to feel this sort of death phobia, like this person can sort of could kill me actually, but what they're actually feeling is really angry that that person's treating them like that. But of course, they can't go there because the feeling has been racketed. Shame is another one that can often be racketed with fear in a different way, because often people who have a lot of shame in their process often don't feel fear in the appropriate way that would keep them safe. What they're typically fearful of is being shamed or judged. So if you ask them, why you're so scared in this moment, they will say it's because that person's is thinking I'm overweight, is thinking I'm this, that person's thinking I'm bad. So they're having a sort of a PTSD level of fear in their body, but it's about being shamed, which is inappropriate because we, as biologically, as we were evolving, you wouldn't have shame could have meant you'd be ostracized, of course, from the tribe, but actually it's not relevant to feel that much fear around shame because shame isn't a life-threatening situation unless you're going to be sort of ostracized and you'll starve because you're thrown out, you're not accepted by the tribe or whatever because you've done a shameful act. But that's because you've done a shameful act, not because you've just got shame in your process. So it's really important that people with shame process recognize their racket because they'll put themselves at risk because they won't feel the fear of consequence that could be dangerous to them because they're primarily looking out for looking out for things that might shame them, because that's what the racket is focused on. So they're not feeling their anger, their fear healthily. They're feeling it. They're feeling it as shame. So that's just a brief example into racket emotions, and typically they sort of do originate during childhood because the environment teaches them that a certain information, certain sort of feeling isn't relevant, or it's dangerous in this situation. So I'm going to do another feeling instead, and that becomes a natural response to the world. So of course, as soon as in adulthood, as soon as you feel the feeling that you've racketed, the true feeling, your brain immediately converts that to the other one, its replacement, before you even know. And then that's it. You'll respond to the world from that feeling as though that's the real feeling, which really limits your options. And it can also keep you in really bad situations because you're constantly trying to appease a feeling that doesn't really need appeasing as an adult, but it did when you were a child. No, hopefully that's a useful explanation. It's quite a big, complex subject in a few minutes. But if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, and I'll do some more of these soon. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.